Good morning, everybody. I recorded this whole session for today, and then I discovered I did not. So, take two, actually recording this time. I had a good comment on a post where this commenter talked about having had to assume the roles of a caregiver from a very young age. By the time she was like 7 years old, she was put in charge of taking care of five younger siblings, and she would often be kept home from school to take care of these siblings. And now she feels so burned out from having spent her whole life as a caregiver and doing all sorts of chores from a very young age. And she's just basically over it. It sounds like her soul is like over it, but she doesn't want to be over it because no one can really escape from these things. We have to keep doing them every day for our whole lives. That's part of being human, is having clean clothes and making food and cleaning up afterwards and like making sure the bathroom is clean so that you don't get a disease. It's part of our human job. So today I wanted to tune in to the energy of household chore burnout, especially for those of us who were put in caregiving roles from a very young age. And as a reminder, I'm not tuning into anybody's personal energy. We're working on the ambient energy, and you can choose into this or you can choose out of this, and I'm not accessing anybody's energy field without permission. Okay, let's go ahead and tune into the energy of this. Okay, and let's just set the intention that everything I already did about this will count. Just tap it in. Everything Allie already did about this is counting for me right now because I thought that I had recorded stuff about this. I got like halfway through and then realized, no, the record button has not been pushed. So that was awesome. Um, okay. I'm tuning in, and the first thing coming up right now is just huge fatigue. We're going to honor the child workers of the past, like the child labor laws that were put into place like 100 years ago or something were needed because people were having their 4-year-olds go work in the factories and in the mines and on the wharf and everything. And it was just dangerous and, awful. And so let's tap on the energy of child labor that our ancestors have carried and that we have carried. I know there are plenty of us here who had to do a lot of hard things at a very young age because that is what was required. And let's just honor that for a minute. Let us honor the hard things that we all had to do in childhood that maybe were not really fair. Just tap and breathe on that. Um, so this writing challenge, so we're working through our 30 days challenge of taking out the trash where we're writing in a spiral notebook, 3 pages, front, back, front, every day for 30 days. And this, I used to do this every day. I started doing this when I was a child. Like when I was 12 years old, I got a journal and I just started writing compulsively, like all through the day, every day for many years. And I have more journals than I can possibly tell you. But I have not been as good about writing about my life in recent months. And so I started doing this challenge. And a few days ago, it led to like this huge breakthrough for me where I really allowed myself to grieve about my own childhood, which is like its own story, and like that whole situation that I had was its own story. But um, as I grieved my childhood and like really allowed myself to feel how sad I felt about everything, I realized that I felt very victimized by my childhood. So my older brother was severely disabled. I started taking care of him when I turned 8. On my 8th birthday, my mom said, "You're old enough to be baptized, you're old enough to take care of your brother." And I just took care of my brother and my younger siblings as well. And anyway, the point is that a couple of days ago, I was like, oh, I like still have more like heavy victim energy to process from all of this. And as I did, and I was like praying and complaining and saying like, "Oh, Heavenly Father, like why did you make me have such a crazy life?" And I just felt sorry for myself in a way that I hadn't before. I'll just tell you the really quick story. I went downstairs, it was like 10 o'clock at night, and my older 3 kids were playing Dungeons and Dragons together. And my daughter is now 10, and then my son just turned 13, and then I have an 8-year-old, and they were all playing together, and I started to cry. maybe I'll cry again. Because I just thought, oh, that could have been me. You know, that's like the same age gaps as my older disabled brother and my younger brother. And like, we could have had a really fun life. And we could have played games in the middle of the night. And we could have just had a great time. My big three kids have a great time together and they're such good friends. And but that was the first moment when I saw them there sitting on the floor and playing their game. I thought, oh my gosh, that could have been me. That should have been me. And instead, I was like cleaning up blood and, you know, worrying about, if my brother was going to survive through the night. And it was just a really different moment. And it was the first time that I'd ever like eh, considered that he really could have been normal. Like he really could have been neurotypical and had a functioning body. And like if that had been, it would have been really different. Because I've never just sat down and felt about that. Anyway, I was praying about this and I I don't know, I felt like God was saying like, I honor you and your victimhood, Allie. Like, yes, it was not fair. And then he like showed me this vision of all of the unfairness. And guess what? No one had a fair childhood. Like, guess what? It's all been unfair. And I don't know. It was like a very good wake up call of like, boo hoo for me and my terrible childhood. But also, everyone has had a lot of suffering that started when they were children, and that's how it is. And like, that's how this earth life goes. And it's just part of how it is to be a human. And it's important that we go through that. And now it's important that we heal it. And it was basically like, feel sorry for yourself, but don't feel that sorry for yourself because guess what? We all deal with it. Um, which brings us back to the point, which is that it's not fair that we've all had to do all of these things and the hard things that we've done in childhood. And also, it is what it means to be human. Being human means we deal with unfair stuff all the time. And that's part of why we're here and why we're doing it. Because, okay, Allie's take on the gospel, okay, is that we're here to learn how to be good stewards and how to manage things that are unfair. That's like basically what it is to be human, is to look at resources that are limited and have to allocate these resources appropriately, right? If the resource is your brain function and how much brain fog you have, or like the spoons, like how much energy you have, if the resource is your money, if the resource is food, if it's clothing, if it's available space, you live in a small house, you have to allocate your space, or you live in a big house, you have to allocate your space. Um, all of life comes down to resource allocation. And that's also what God deals with. God is the ultimate manager of resource allocation, right? And I don't think God's sitting there being like, you should be poor, you should be rich. I don't think that's how it is. I think what is actually happening is God has to have the boundaries to allow us to experiment with our own mental understandings of resource allocation so that we can gain wisdom in how we're allocating our resources. Because when we master resource allocation and resource reception, when we figure out how to receive resources and how to allocate these resources in a responsible way, we receive more and then we're able to better allocate. But like, that's what this is all about. This is all just a huge exercise in what resources can we receive and how are we going to allocate them appropriately. Wow, I forgot. I'm like, why am I even talking about this? Hold on, let me remember what I'm talking about. Okay, let's tie it back to household chore burnout. I was like, what am I even talking about? Okay, that's what we're talking about. When we are burned out from having to manage our lives, we are burned out from managing resources in a way that is not functional. I think that's probably what it comes down to, is that there is some or maybe multiple aspects of our lives where we are either not receiving what we need to receive in order to allocate appropriately, or we're allocating wrong and it's messing up the flow of everything in our lives, and it's making it so that we can't stay on top of the household chores. Sometimes it's because we have too much to do and we need to purge items from our lives and purge commitments from our lives so that we have the time and the physical space to do what we need to do. Sometimes it's because of things like that emotional resistance to engaging in the behaviors that we need to engage in to complete the tasks that need to be completed so that we can have a functional life. Let's go ahead and dig into that again for another minute. The emotional resistance to engaging in these tasks and behaviors. And I'm seeing a big panic, and it feels like the breath is caught in the throat right up here, like kind of breathing. It feels so much stress about having to complete so many tasks. It's like, I am allergic to tasks. How am I supposed to do this task, this task, this task? There's a big resistance to bundling tasks, which reminds me of something I read about ADHD, where for a neurotypical brain, when I say it's time to do the dishes, then your brain is automatically like, here is the code of doing the dishes. And it means walk to the sink, pick up your dish, turn on the water, scrub the dish, put it in the dishwasher, wipe down the counters, do this, like empty the dishwasher, put the dishes away. And it collects all that data into one data set. Whereas the ADHD brain is going to have each step individually. And when they have to do the task, they have to do each individual thing and like pull it up separately and complete each checklist item one at a time instead of viewing it as like a whole list at once. So that's probably something worth doing a whole session on, like a real one, but let's do a mini one for right here. Okay, I'm already feeling like we gotta shake some stuff out, so shake, shake, shake. Okay, why do we have a resistance towards bundling tasks so that they can be accomplished more easily? Is it not knowing how to do it? I'm actually getting a no. It's a resistance to doing it for more than one reason now, so just one big reason. That is not fear. And up comes a big feeling of out of control. So is this that person being out of control or the external world being out of control? The external world being out of control. Sorry, my nose is like so itchy as I talk about this for some reason. Okay, I'm seeing that this is a vision. The concept of out of control, I see it like a disc, like a big frisbee. And um this person's ability to like do the tasks, it's like the feelings of out of control come and smash the ability to like bundle tasks and accomplish them. This feeling of out of control, everything in life is out of control, and it just feels so big and heavy. It's like I'm out of control, the world is out of control, and now I'm supposed to exert so much control over myself so that I can try to control this out of control mess. Yeah, right. Like there's not enough self-control in the world for that. Like how much self-control can a person have that they can control this out of control world? Whew, shake it out, shake it out. Blaming of the world, rejection of the world, rejection of the chaos of the world. This world is so chaotic. How can I alone exert control over the chaos? Shake it out. Blaming of self coming up now. I must be too stupid. I'm too weak. Other people figure it out. How come I don't have it figured out? Big self-rejection. Let's breathe on that. Okay. Pulling up that resistance to bundling tasks and making them like simpler. It's like, I will not do that. Rebellion energy against that. It's not fair. How come I have to do that? Look at all the things that I have been through, and I need a rest from this. I do not need to force myself into more of this. It's kind of like offended because of the stuff that has been suffered that hasn't been taken care of. So let's honor that unresolved suffering. I see it in a boat. It's like a lifeboat attached to like this bigger ship, and it's getting lowered into the water. So let's watch that lifeboat get lowered into the water. When it touches the water, it's like this release happens, and a bunch of the trauma that has been unresolved starts to wash off in the water. Let's shake it off, allowing that unresolved trauma to start being neutralized and processed in a very, very safe way, in a steady way. We're going to smash it up into dust so it can process out a little bit at a time over the months to come if needed. Releasing that and allowing it to flow. Okay, I'm asking, can we bundle tasks together now? I'm getting a yes. So I want you to go into your mind, and if you are someone who struggles to bundle tasks together, or if you're not, I can guarantee all of us can do better at bundling bigger tasks together. And the more that we do that, the easier our life is going to be. And what I mean by that is like all the steps to brushing your teeth. I understand that that's very difficult when you have ADHD because you have to like remember all the steps and like force yourself to do each individual step instead of just like doing it, like on autopilot. But even for people that do their toothbrushing on autopilot, what if you did your toothbrushing on autopilot and also did your moisturizer on autopilot and also created these like strings of routines, right? Like the more we can do that, the easier our lives become. That's kind of one of my secrets for making all these YouTube videos. Is I record them several days. I'll do several days worth in a row, and then I have this whole system, and it's taken me years to like create the bundle of the system of how I do it to the point where I can just sit down and do it, and it's fast and doesn't take an enormous amount of time for my life. Um, so this is going to be good for everybody. That's why everybody benefits. Even if you already are good at bundling tasks, let's go ahead and just imagine ourselves bundling tasks and just imagine ourselves moving through our day really smoothly. Let's imagine your brain having a new blueprint where it just easily bundles the tasks. And I want you to, after this, write down a list of the tasks that you wish were easy for you, especially when it comes to household chores. So that's going to be maybe like personal hygiene stuff. So like showers, toothbrushing, skincare, whatever. Okay, cleaning. So it'd be like scrubbing the bathroom, sweeping the floor. I never mop, but mopping, I don't know. Maybe I should start mopping. Um, I do mop occasionally, but it's not very usual. And okay, things like meal preparation or meal planning or doing the laundry and having a good laundry system, the household chores that we need to do, what do we want to have bundles of? And maybe it will be worth it to make that list and then say, okay, if I have a bundle of clean the bathroom, what's in that bundle? It's going to be like taking out all the stuff from the tub and like scrubbing the tub and then rinsing the tub. It's going to be scrubbing behind the toilet and around the toilet and then in the toilet and on top of the toilet. And, you make a list of all the things that need to be done. And we're just going to tap in. You make that list and then you're going to tap it in and imagine that list goes as a blueprint into your brain. Like imagine it lifting right off the paper and boop, plopping right into your brain as a bundle. Excuse me. Okay, I'm getting a yes on that. Okay. Okay, I'm seeing a bunch of yeses on that. Anything else today? No, let's go ahead and ground really fast. Imagine yourself growing roots into the center of the earth and out 5 miles in every direction. And just breathe and feel how it feels to be in your body and connected to the earth and connected to our creator in the heavens, feeling a flow of energy from our creator down to the earth and from the earth right back up through us. We get to be the vessel for our creator's divine energy, goodness on this earth, and the earth's divine goodness through us. Let's go ahead and breathe that in. I feel really good about this. Okay. If you do this, I want to know how it goes for you. I want to know how the next week goes for you when it comes to your household chores. I can't wait to hear. Okay, bye guys.